Welcome back to Storyteller Certified. We're with April Rom. Did I pronounce that correctly? Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, April
Perfect,
Rom.
perfect. It's been a while, ladies and gentlemen, and folks that follows with this great energy. During the pandemic, we had Storyteller Certified going on because we were talking to entrepreneurs about who they are, what they're doing, and how they're pivoting during the pandemic. And we took a huge hiatus. Storyteller Certified is the behind the scenes documentary network that inspires people into action. We bridge the gap between human experiences and storytelling, inspirational stories, educational stories, empowering stories, and the programming is geared towards creative professionals. And today we have Miss April Rom. We met online on IG. I was following her. I felt her energy, and I'm going to literally let her tell her story instead of me trying to introduce who she is. I can say that after following her in her journey, I know she took a leap of faith, but I'm going to let her dive into the story. April, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. For folks, and you have a lot of viewers and you have a lot of people that's following your journey, please tell everyone who you are, what you do.
I am an artist. I'm a macrame and painting artist. I basically do that full time. I work from home in Maine, and I love it. It's my passion. And I just have the creative freedom to do whatever I want to do every day. Um, how it all started, to be honest with you, I think that it just basically all started since I was born, really. Just figuring out life, figuring out how I want to live my life, what my passion is, who I am as a person, through a lot of like mistakes after mistakes. And it was a crazy ride, and I've
Mhm.
always started working since I was like 12 years old.
Right.
And I've always had that like hustling mode. Like it's all about hustling, like sacrificing my social life. Like
Of course.
no partying, no relationships, just like all about the grind because I wanted to have financial freedom and I wanted to be happy. And that was my mentality before. It was all about the grind, and you know, then after I can relax. Um, so since I was like 12 to now, I mean, I can't even tell you how many jobs I've gone through. Probably like maybe 20 jobs.
Right. Why
It
so
was
many jobs? Like, what was really going on?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And I guess like through all the years, I was tired of working my ass off
Mhm.
and spiritually just not being happy. I was just never satisfied. And I think that's partly why I was jumping from jobs to jobs because I was just never satisfied. I always felt like there was something missing. Always questioning, why am I not happy? Like I was making a lot of money at certain jobs and certain careers that I've gone through, but I was just never happy. And I was like, okay, it's not the money, money
Right.
doesn't make what is it? Um and I was just lost for a while. Like I thought like personal training was my passion. I thought nursing was my passion. I
Mhm.
thought real estate was my passion, and just it wasn't. And then I got into a relationship. Um and I think we went through a lot, and it was a struggle. It was like 2 years before, no, maybe 3 years before the pandemic. Then I was a debt collector, and I was making good money, and we were traveling all over the world with like the money I was making, and I was in a relationship. I was happy, but then we were like struggling at the same time. And then I wasn't happy with my debt collecting job because it was like literally I was in the office for like 10 to 12 hours a day on the phone, people bitching at me,
Right.
complaining.
And that's
And
definitely not purpose for work.
yeah, like mentally draining, and physically draining because I was sitting the whole day. And then I just was not happy and I was not satisfied. And then the pandemic happened.
Right.
And and that was like a breaking point. Like that time was a time when my relationship was like going downhill. It wasn't working out. I was getting depressed, and I was just working my ass off trying to make money, but
Mhm.
wasn't happy. And then I was stuck at home during the pandemic, confused, angry. Then my partner when I was like not doing well, and I was just like, so confused and lost, and I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my purpose was in life anymore, and I was trying to figure, okay, like, am I supposed to do this for the rest of my life?
Right.
Am I supposed to feel this way? Am I supposed to never feel satisfied or happy anymore? Like, who am I? What am
Right.
I supposed to do?
And those are the questions you need to be asking yourself. And a lot of
Yeah,
people do self-reflection.
yes.
Right.
I so important to basically give yourself an interview. Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you happy? Even like relationships and even like friends, even like your surroundings. Why are you you know in the surrounding who you're surrounding with, if that makes
Exactly.
sense.
No, it makes
um
perfect sense.
but yeah, I mean, I was like, I guess I was sick and tired of working my ass off
Mhm.
and not being happy and satisfied. And I was always expecting my partner to make me happy as well. And I was tired of that. I'm like, I need to find my own spiritual happiness, and who I am, because I definitely felt like I lost myself. And
Mhm.
so during the pandemic, it came to the point where we broke up and we were still living with each other.
Mhm.
And that was hard. So I like had nowhere to go. And I was working from home as a debt collector. And I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? He's not going to make me happy. No one's going to make me happy but me, you know, and my job isn't going to make me happy. So what's the next step? Like, what should I do? And I was like, I wrote a list. I was like, okay, leave. And that was get out of the relationship,
Right, right.
find another place, move to Japan. My brother lives in Japan, so that was like an option for me. Quit my job, find another job, and then I had a list of hobbies.
Mhm.
Like, okay, I need a hobby. I need to do something that made me happy, like I used to when I was a little girl, and that was
Hold up.
painting.
So, Rick, I don't want to, so I know, so before you jump into that, so you didn't have a business before. You were just talking about your hobby. So you didn't really have a business
Yeah,
per se.
it wasn't business. It
Okay.
was just
Keep
so.
going. Keep going. Yep.
So during that time, I was basically mainly focusing on me
Right.
because I realized that money wasn't making me happy, a relationship wasn't making me happy.
Right.
There was no, I couldn't find a job, a career that couldn't make me happy. Friends wasn't making me happy, family, like nothing. And I was like, the only person that could make me happy is me.
Right.
And I need to make myself happy. What am I supposed? Like, I need to
Mhm.
know what steps are. And so I was like, I was like crying every single day. And it was just so confused because I was like, I hadn't had no one to go to. Like, my family and friends are like, I live in Maine, so most of my family and friends are like 3 hours away from me,
Right.
and
Mhm.
really close to any of my family members. So it was like I was basically just alone, because my partner wasn't there for me anymore.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I need to go for a hike. So I went for a hike, start hiking, start breathing in nature, and just like thinking about life and myself and who I am and what I need to do.
One of the
Um,
best releases too, by the way. Like I love hiking and I love mountain climbing. That's my release is to see
yeah,
mountains. I get it.
nature, just
Right.
being, and not the noise of like the city and like cars and people. But yeah, then I was like, okay, I need to start painting again because I remember I used to love painting,
Hmm.
and I just like kind of like forgot about it because I was focusing on hustling, the grind. And so I start buying canvases and I just start painting my heart away. I was like, I'm gonna do this and this. And all I did was paint, and I was documenting it. Um, I don't know why I was documenting. I guess I was used to like the social media life. So I was always documenting things because I used to be an online coach as well. So I kind of had a following anyways. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, you know. And then the more I painted, the more I realized how spiritually happy I felt. It just kind of lifted, you know. Like, oh shit, like I'm gonna just keep painting. It was also kind of a distraction of what I was going through in my relationship. And while I was working as a debt collector, I was also painting on the side.
Mhm.
Like
But
it was like
it was making you happy though.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then I started one of the things I was obsessed with during the pandemic was buying plants.
Hmm.
And buying plants, and then I started buying macrame hanging plant holders. And then I was like, maybe I can make this, you know? And then I started going on YouTube. I was like, oh, this is easy. And then I got obsessed with it. I'm like, oh, let me try different knots. And then just started being more creative with it. And again, documenting it. And people was like, that's really nice. And then start getting a lot of feedback from it. And it just kind of like exploded, you know, like,
Let me ask you a quick question. In while that was happening, right, and you were documenting, so you were posting, did you start noticing that your viewers or friends were commenting? Did that start even growing? Is that something that
yeah,
occurred? Okay.
yeah, it started growing, like, it was insane.
So I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to insert this so you can continue going with your story. That's when people know that's purpose. So I'm gonna, it's
Mhm,
a quick story because I don't want to cut you off. Years ago, I had a friend named Paul Brunson. He's an amazing influencer and business person. And he said, post three things and three stories about you. And then he knew what he was doing. He was seeing how many people would catch on. So I
mhm,
told this story about, oh, when I was like directing and music video, I mean, not music productions that were coming with major concerts and celebrities. Like three or four people commented, right? So then I was like, sat home and reflected, and I was like, purpose, 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 purpose.
mhm,
I started talking about purpose driven work. My hits went from 70 to 700 to like 7,000, like around the country. Like, and I just dropped a story about purpose work. And then I noticed that. So that's what we'll talk about that again. That's when I understood that when you fall in alignment with your purpose,
mhm,
the energy of the people grows
mhm.
automatically. Like it's a no-brainer. So continue. I just had to drop that in because it's so true.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
crazy. It was like, I didn't even think that it was gonna be a business or a
Yeah.
thing. It was more of just a hobby, and I was always, like, very passionate about, like, spreading your wings, you know, like, it's so
Mhm.
important to spread your wings, try new things, go out for an adventure, you know, experiment, different things that you've never done before, because you don't know if you're gonna like it, you know,
Right.
until you try, right?
Of course.
And I think I was always very passionate about that. I was like, if you want to try something like a hobby, like a painting or macrame or jujitsu, it could be anything that
Hmm.
you've never, you know, give it a shot, and you just never know what you're gonna fall in love with, you know. So yeah, I mean, I got really obsessed with it, and my partner saw that. He saw that I was very passionate about what I was doing, and I think that kind of like built our relationship again.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it was that's like a whole
Support.
different
That's the support. I get it. I get it.
um, but yeah, I mean, I just got obsessed with it and then start documenting it, and then people start asking, how much are you selling? And then I was looking at him, my partner, I was like, what if one day this can turn into a business? What if one day I have a store online? What if one day I became like one of those vendors at a fair? Like that would be crazy. And I was like, in that moment, I remember this. I was like, no, 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 possible. That's not gonna happen.
Right.
I can't.
Right.
No, I didn't really believe in myself, but I just kept doing it because I loved it and I was passionate about it, and I felt this really good energy from it that like I just did not want to stop anymore. I didn't want to go back to who I was a week ago, a month, you know, a month ago, a year
Right.
ago, because I was very depressed and very confused and angry,
Of
and I
course.
loved humming, you know, and I loved it and I wanted more.
Right.
Um,
Not to cut
so
you off again. It's just every time you say something, it's like dropping an antidote in the gym. Steve, hi, Steve. Um, damn, his name just left my brain. Steve, the host guy, Steve.
yeah,
What'd you say?
Steve,
Yeah,
Steve Harvey.
Harvey. Steve Harvey. What's wrong with me? Sorry, I'm like just getting my tea for the day.
It's okay.
He said, "You know when you know it because
Hmm.
it feels good, and you get an
Hmm.
overwhelming feeling, and this light starts to glow." Those are not his exact words, and then people start to grab. He said, "If you're good at baking, it becomes natural, and then like you're like, oh wait, let me decide to sell it." the sales will
Mhm.
go from 1 to 1 million, right?
Yeah.
Just because, like, it's that feeling, and you can fit. And a lot of people won't follow that. Like, they literally, if they feel
No.
the touch of this dream or this power, or that inside voice saying, "Hey, April," like
Mhm.
your inside voice was talking, do
Mhm.
this, and then look where it's going, right? So please continue. I just like just go. I think it's amazing. Yeah.
You know what it is? So I think it has to do with a lot of things. I mean, it could be like they're distracted with life of what they're
Yeah.
going, who they're
Hmm.
with, surroundings, their environment. You know, it could be fear, it could be a lot of things, you know. And I was very fortunate that, you know, my environment that I am now is very peaceful.
Hmm.
So I was distracted with like noise, you know, or like toxicity. Um, so I was very, very, you know, fortunate in that. And I think that really helped.
About your place too, by the way. I see the same shot. Like I said,
Hmm.
I'm a follower. And I was like, wherever she lives is dope. Like I see a lake. We love the beams. Like my wife was like, where does she live? Like this is such a dope crib. And your space looks like it feeds your creativity as well.
Yeah,
Easily.
it's where I sleep and where I work, but I love it.
Oh, it's so good for you. That's so great. So you this amazing feeling, this is happening, like it's just growing. How did you come up with the name? Because the name is different too. It's not like some normal name. Like, is that the business name now?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know, what was it before? It was so funny before. I think in the beginning it was like artsy fartsy creations or
Okay.
something like.
And then how'd you come up with the name that you have now? Because the name you have now is catchy.
So for some reason, I love the word Zen.
Zen.
Zen, that I feel like really feeds my soul. It
Love
just
it.
like means like, you know, peace and like, I don't know. It's just, I just love it. It just feels like it's a part of me.
Mhm.
Like, I remember I kind of joke around when I'm like traveling or something like that. I'm like, look, that can be like, there should be like a koi pond, you know, it would be so zenly. You know what I mean? Like, I would just like, I don't know.
So it's
Uh,
Zenly Creations, right?
Zenly Creations.
Creations.
So
Okay.
yeah, I was just, like I've always been into the word Zen. And then my partner was kind of helping me
Yeah.
figuring out the name. And I gave him a list. I'm like, okay, what do you think about this, this,
Right.
this, this?
Right.
He goes, you know, I think Zen leaf suits you more because, you
Nice.
know, it
It's
was a part, you know,
we're all part of
some,
you. It's synergy.
yeah. So then, yeah, that's kind of how.
So this leads me to this question, and then I knew I almost can feel what you're gonna tell me, but I want to hear it from you. Now, I was gonna launch this podcast a while ago just about creative people. Like when creative people start to work on something, I think you have out of body experience. And I also think that you go to this other state of consciousness because that's how you can bring your creativity, this God given gift, this power, this purpose down to be able to create why God has you here.
Mhm.
Where do you go? Because like your designs are like, if people don't know who you are, they need to follow you and see. Like when I'm looking at them, I'm like, that's dope. That's dope. And after a while, like when I started, I was like, can I even afford? Like, I'm not even gonna ask her how much this is because like money was like this during the pandemic. I hate to ask people something before I
Mhm.
can support them. We'll go one question at a time. Where do you go mentally when you're creating something?
I mean, I think it's kind of all the same for me. I'm always just in my own world.
Mhm.
It kind of how when I started to in the beginning,
Right.
like trying to find myself, you know, and who I am, and just being like really focused and in, you know, in the zone of what it's just like. It basically it's just me and what's in front of me, you know, and that's it, and nothing else. Like everything, it kind of just like there's like black noise, just nothing. And I'm just like just I don't know, I'm just like in my head, but like very peacefully and calm, like nothing bothers me.
Does
And I
it
just
feel like everyone else goes away?
yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It's just I kind of I don't really think of like if I'm doing a macrame project, I don't really have like it. I have an idea in my head, but I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Right.
So I just do it. I just let my hand do
Let
its
let
job.
it go. Yeah.
kind of go with it, go with the flow, and let it work. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Um, I wish I can share because I don't have anything down here currently now. That's because so my daughter's like this creative, like she's it's weird. Like we've been having family meetings, like so up here the schools are like the top creative schools, like Duke Ellington. It's like all the
Hmm.
top creative kids go there, and it's in DC, so you have to live in DC. So we've been having these powwow meetings where my wife and her aunt were like, she's like a weird genius. Like this is really weird. Like look at this stuff. So I'm gonna get my wife to bring something down so you can look at it. We know when she's drawing, it's like you almost can watch the person like they close their eyes, like they go somewhere else and like they
Yeah.
just go. And
Yeah.
I say that to say like your work is amazing, and the power of this show is not only for people to hear that story or hear the leap of faith or hear your purpose, is to like no check her out, like check out Zenly
Hmm.
Creations, like check out what she's doing, support her, support this creative. So now when I get up the call, now I gotta say, hey, but hold on, let me ask you a question. Do you just create and sell, or do people call and ask for anything customized based on like
Both.
their colors? Okay,
Both.
because my power colors are blue, like not the dark blue. It's kind of like the royal blue, black,
Yeah.
and white. So
Like
those are our power color. Yeah, yeah, I love that color.
me
So
too.
you do get customized work. People do ask
Yeah.
for customized work.
Yeah. I get basically like weekly, like every other day, I'll get like a custom. I'm actually doing a custom painting now. Um, but they'll tell me, a lot of like for a painting work, they'll just send me pictures of what they want, like an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll tell me like if they have like specific colors, and they basically I love how like all of my customers give me a creative freedom to do whatever I want to do
Yeah,
with what
I love it.
um so like this painting that I'm doing right now, he's a hunter and he's a fisher, and he sent me a bunch of pictures of him hunting, fishing, all the fish that he caught, the deers that he shot, and I just want something that that has to do with like my lifestyle and what I do.
Are you done with
And
it? Let me take a peek.
yeah, sure. And he's like, you have the creative freedom to do what you want to do with it. It's not done yet,
Yeah.
but
Now, did you know him, or this is someone that contacted you online?
I didn't know him. He just contacted me online.
That's what's crazy, that the fact that you would do something, I would not be surprised when he receives it. His like spirit animal is in there or something. Like I'm
Yeah.
serious. Like just because of how the alignment of his work and what you do, and then you meet and he's like, all right, do this, and then anyway, it's beautiful by the way it's turned
Thank
out.
you. I can't wait.
Now let's ask the weird question that people don't want to ask about money. How not costly, but how much does some of your work cost? Or are they different prices if you don't mind
It
sharing?
it's different prices. It all depends on the size. It depends on like the details. It depends on, the colors. It really all depends. I mean, I do accessories too, and I just do a lot of things, and that's partly why I called it Zenly Creations,
Mhm.
because it's not just painting or macrame. I mean, it's not just macrame; it's painting as well.
And
You know,
macrame, for those that don't know what that is, what is macrame? Because some people may not know.
macrame. It's like I have to show you what it is. I mean, it's like I use like cotton cords.
Yeah.
Um, use a design like a tree of life. Decor using like cotton. It's like a bohemic style decor.
Okay.
Uh, but I mean, I can't really explain what.
No, 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 it's fine. That's enough. So one of the emphasis of all of our podcasts is like storytelling. Do you have any stories that of like a particular project or a place that you went or that you were working on that just really continued to inspire you? Like what the part of the question is like what inspires you, but is there a story in your life that really inspired you either to go in that direction or a project that you were working on?
I mean, almost every project that I'm working on,
Mhm.
really. Like if I'm doing like a macrame piece, I
Yeah.
like to use natural driftwood. Um, and I don't just pick up any wood. I It has to mean something to me. Like if I'm like snorkeling
Mhm,
and I'm like, living life and like doing my thing and I'm snorkeling and I see a wood that sticks out that's unique, you
mhm.
know, then I grab it and take it home with me and use it as a piece and hopefully sell it in hopes that that energy that I saw, it's kind of weird with this driftwood, they'll feel it too because it's from like nature, and I don't know, I just can't really explain it.
Oh,
It's
no. I believe that energy transfers with stuff that people make, or if you're working on something that is if it's made from love, they will feel it as love. It's the same thing with energy. It's like, say for instance, you really didn't want to buy anyone a gift or do anything from them, then you like while you were buying it, you were cussing. You was like, I don't give a F about, about them anyway. When you that
yeah,
energy transfers and
yeah.
either it would break or wouldn't last or they'll give it away. So I
Mhm.
truly believe in it. Have you ever had a client that you really connected with and the project was like one of these things that was like kind of like mind blowing when you gave it to them? Any particular client that happened with?
There is one. Um, he is from Australia, which I thought was really cool. Let me think. And he's an awesome guy. Like I felt like I could,
Mhm,
or anything. And he bought a painting from me that I was very connected with because it was one of the paintings that I just painted for me. It
mhm.
wasn't like a piece, and he wanted it.
Nice.
Um, and it was a painting um, of a face. It was a painting of my face, actually. I kind of took a picture of like my side face.
Mhm.
I just painted the side of my face. Not, I didn't paint my face, but I
I,
painted
I get it. Mhm,
on that canvas, and it was my face on a canvas, and it was a teardrop, and it was like a large teardrop coming down. In that teardrop there was like a mixture of like the galaxy.
mhm,
On the galaxy it was like nature, you know um um like leaves and trees and woods, and just something that like I was very spiritually connected with. But I was like, and I just like, I don't know, that painting to me, it was like me crying, but like happy at the same time because I'm crying through like the love of nature.
mhm.
Makes sense. Um, I don't know. It was just, and then he wanted it, because he felt the same way. He goes, I saw that painting,
That's it.
and he explained to me of how he felt, and I was like, yes, that's how I feel too.
I love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So sidebar again. So I'm gonna bring in this. So there's this. If I can show you this corner in our house, it's paintings, it's objects, it's like creative wands. It's like so many things are open. And growing up, my parents would have been like, "You need to clean all this mess up." We just like
Yeah.
let her grow. I mean, now the floor is starting to get jacked up because there's so much of her paint objects and everything all over there. So I have to just screenshot and just send it to you. So
Okay.
this right here she created,
Ooh.
and it's on a stick. I don't even know how she got the tail to wrap around it. She's gonna be so mad if she know I showed this. But she
What
created
is
this.
it out of?
She goes and buys these materials at Michael's, which is one of these art stores, and then she just starts to create. And when she like lately, her friends were like, "I want to buy this." Like
Oh,
everything. Like her friends want to buy her art, her paintings, and she's been doing like individual portrait paintings of people. Someone please bring one of her portraits. I'm sorry.
oh, it's okay. How old is she?
14.
That's awesome. I
14.
hope she don't let her stop.
We won't. And then one of those one of those, oh my God, my brain, those shows that you go to and you dress up with as a character. What are those called?
Um,
Yeah, Comic Con. So we took her to like two. And it's just so beautiful just seeing her. She created her costume.
I
And
love that.
she's like, well, what do you think? Man, she got out there and people are like, whoa, like, And she was 12, I think, at the time. The first one we went to, it
Um,
was blowing people away. They was like, "You made that, or you bought it?" She was like, "I made it." And literally, people started commissioning her, asking her. So
that
she at 12 was getting commission, and now she's getting commission. So she did the school's first art portrait for some event that was coming up, and they went like directly to her. So that's how with her, I know that's purpose. Like that's where she needs to be. And same thing with you. Like I like you don't know a person. Like I'm watching you online. I was like, I could just feel that this is where she needs. When you post or like when you show something, you have the biggest smile on your face when you're like showcasing your work, and it's just so beautiful. It really, really is. I think that your story is so inspiring. I think that it should charge other people, educate people, inspire people, and empower people. Not only like take this leap of faith, but if they hear that voice speaking to them, to just do it. Like
mhm.
imagine you didn't listen.
Yeah.
Imagine you're like, no, I'm gonna keep doing all these weird jobs. And and then you didn't do it. So let me give you another background. So on Storyteller Certified, I know I'm not sure if you read the stuff that we sent you. So Storyteller Certified was launched during the pandemic. I love wearing beanies. So during the pandemic, when there was nothing else to do and like all my projects like went away, I started figuring out, okay, well, what else can I do besides now I'm assisting my clients with this podcast? But sidebar to that, and you really can't see, we have a storyteller sign that's right literally behind us. It's probably blown out.
Mhm,
But I love wearing beanies to my productions. I'm a director of photography, video journalist, a storyteller, and I do documentaries. We cover, and when we get hired for everything is like a story. So when I was doing that, I was always throw my beanies and run out the door. So then during the pandemic, I said, well, why don't I just label it, get it done, trademark it, register it, and just
uh-huh,
start to wear it, give it out, and sell it. Just do it. So when I did it, it like blew off the racks. And I was looking for a specific type of beanie that really fit well, that had a comfortable fit. And I did the research on it. And I just bought like a series of colors and started wearing them. People, yeah, where are you getting that beanie from? So I was like, oh, my clients that I was working with, I said, I'll send it to you. And the other people that wanted to buy one, I would sell it to them. And
mhm,
then literally when the first couple ones went out, like they're like the sales started going. And I didn't have inventory. So
mhm.
I had to, I was doing it as a small business person. I was like, all right, let me just order some more. Let me order these patches.
Uh,
Let me really get it done. And it just caught on. Like it just shot off. And then, I'm not a big sweatshirt wearing guy, but when I go to my production, I like to be comfortable with the sweatshirt, my beanie, and my
yeah,
cargos. And when the sweatshirts launched, the camo one was the one they just loved. Like people went crazy. Like all the
mhm.
women thought they were like tough. They were like, I want the camo. So we puffy, yeah, we got the puffy lettering on it. And then this year's when we jumped into different colors. But the whole emphasis behind it was you put this hat on, and literally when I put it on, I feel super creative. When I
Mm,
put my t-shirts and shirts on, it feels like a Superman outfit. So we have an article that somebody wrote on me and also Storyteller Certified, and that was like the meat of it. They was like, so why? Like, where did it come from? It was like when I wear this, like my glasses, it feels like a Superman outfit, and I could be more
that's a
creative you know? So
yeah.
for me, when I saw what you were doing, I said, oh no, she's a storyteller. Like the way that she's living, the way that she's growing, and the things that she's doing, the way that her business, I said, and a lot of people, I don't ask them to buy. Like if you want to buy other colors, that's fine. But for me, when I find a creative online like you, I said, oh no, you're getting a gift. Like that's
Mm,
just my gift and my love energy to say, hey, look, this is for you to continue being creative.
mm,
So a lot of people won't accept gifts online. They was like, I don't know, some weirdo reaching out to me on IG. I'm not sure. But then and I remember we went back and forth. He was like, no, blue. Sent you the blue. You put it on. I was like, that's cool. That is really, really cool. And then that's what we've been doing. Like, we have a lot of colleagues, friends, people we
mm,
haven't met, some we've met, and our hats are like everywhere. Last story, I had a parent. She's like, I've been watching you, and we went to high school together. And
mhm,
she hit me one day on Facebook and said, hey, I've been watching your movement because it's a movement. She said, my son's going to film school. And he happened to be over my shoulder and saw your hats and saw your storyteller. So I was like, I ordered him some. He said he can't stop wearing it. When he goes
mhm,
to his shoots or his classes, like that's all he's wearing. And now his classmates are asking him. So I knew that this empowerment of the Superman outfit with the storyteller that I give to other people and sell to other people, and they wear it and they use it is like one
Mhm.
of the God-given purpose driven work. You know what I mean? And even when I talk about it, you can see the smile on my face. Like I love it. It's about to be summertime, and I'm still gonna wear my beanies because I get cold in the basement. So, but anyway, that's kind of the story behind Storyteller Certified.
I love that.
Thank you, thank you. And the family is big behind it. My son's standing at the door. Creatively, we would have these meetings, and they always want me to make sure I credit them. They're a big source behind why Storyteller took off. Yeah, he's like leaning at the door, like you ain't gonna mention who we are, but
Mm.
they're a big source behind it. So I'm just happy that you were able to share your story. Is there anything else that you wanna discuss, share? No, but I do want to make sure I get. I don't know if you have your stuff online, a website, or any way that people could get in touch with you. So you definitely could say that.
Yeah, I mean, well, they can check out my Instagram.
Mhm.
And then if they want a commission piece, people usually just message me directly.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's a link in my bio. It
Hmm.
shows like a bunch of things. There's like an Etsy shop, a merch shop.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of people mostly will check out my available highlights on my profile, and I'll just kind of post what's available, and they'll message me, "Hey, I want this one," and we basically just talk directly through message. I
Perfect.
feel like more personal that way. I build a relationship, a clientele that way instead of like them directing them to the website and not really have an actual conversation.
Like
You
a
know,
true creative, like a creative you are. The name of your company again?
Zenly Creations.
Zenly Creations. Does it? And you, I think you told me earlier. Does it mean anything specific?
I mean, it just means like being peace with myself and with through my art, through my macrame, my painting. And it's not just macrame, it's painting, it's more than that. Um, that's pretty much it.
I love it. You have poured and shared so much of just your personal information, and I appreciate you doing that. Are there any tips, words of advice, or anything that you would give any other creative out there? Because your journey is amazing. Your story is probably going to 9 out of 10 times inspire someone else to take a leap of faith. That's why we
I,
do this. So, any tips you can pass on?
I mean, I would say, you know, don't lose your creativity. Um, Focus on your happiness and believe that like you are the only person that can truly do that and control your happiness and master it through creativity. And if you're looking to build a business through that, I mean, definitely take the leap of faith and believe in that. But I think it's also important that you do have a plan. Like for me, I didn't just quit right away, you know, like I made sure that like in the beginning I was juggling between my debt collecting job and my business, my hobby, and I was just juggling back and forth for like what, a year. And I was like, you know, saving up money, making sure that I had bills saved to make sure that like if my business doesn't go through, I still have money to pay my bills. You know, so I just think it's really important to make sure that you have that on the side until you're actually ready to just leave and focus on your business. You know, unless you have like savings and like someone else that can help you. But yeah, and just believe in yourself and that knowing that you can the only person that can control that is you. That's it.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. While you have the blue storyteller hat hanging behind you, amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah, thank you so much for responding to the call and then just coming on and just sharing your story. It was just a pleasure to meet you online. I didn't think you were real. I said, I don't know. Let me just reach out and see if she's a real person. But your story is amazing. I will continue to support and follow you online. And
Thank you.
again, thank you.